episode number 325 of the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. My guest today is Lindsay Goodwin. Lindsay is a fertility support and reproductive medicine pioneer who uniquely blends spiritual and energy healing techniques with scientific approaches for a truly holistic experience. With credentials as a certified master life coach for self-mastery, a certified NLP therapist, a hypnotherapist, a licensed acupuncturist, and a board-certified herbalist, Lindsay brings a unique, comprehensive approach to health, personal growth, and awakening the power within. As a certified fellow of ABORM and a spiritual fertility medium, Lindsay uniquely empowers clients to overcome health, emotional, and mindset challenges. She achieves this through a blend of evidence-based practices and energy tools, helping individuals overwhelmed by stress, life demands, and fertility obstacles to conquer anxieties, setbacks, and past traumas. Her work fosters new patterns that usher in joy, fulfillment, freedom, and the renewed energy to hope. Lindsay's profound personal transformation further enriches her expertise. A near-death experience prompted her awakening to the divine power within all of us, leading her to integrate science, consciousness, and the unseen energies for healing and abundance. Her leadership in higher consciousness, mindset, and physical health has guided countless individuals to reclaim their lives and achieve a state of harmony, growth, and fulfillment, and to know that they are so much more than just their physical bodies. Welcome to the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. I'm Michelle, a fertility acupuncturist here to provide you with resources on how to create a wholesome approach to your fertility journey. Welcome back to the podcast, Lindsay.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here, Michelle.
Well, I love having you. We just had a whole long pre-talk. We just always connected. I always connected with you like from day one. So, and I love just seeing how you're progressing as a practitioner. And also, as I was reading her bio, I mean, I really feel very aligned with how you see your healing, how you approach things, how you are staying in your truth with the connection that you feel to spirit, and also acknowledging how important that is in the healing process. And I think that, and we talked about this, there's this whole science versus this, it could be both. And I think that now we are moving into a place where we're actually bridging a lot of what has been shown that is sort of, it's being revealed almost, like all the things that the ancients have been talking about for thousands of years is now starting to become revealed through science. And it's kind of interesting how that is happening right now in this time that we're living. We're starting to see a lot of things, even that the heart houses the mind through heart math. Those kind of things about coherence and how our heart is the creator, the creative center, and all of these different things, which I'm sure you're also very into. So I would love for you to just a quick rundown. I mean, you've been on here before, but just a quick like background on you and how you got into this work, and how you also in your own spirit, your own journey, connected with spirit and realized the importance of that when it comes to healing.
Yeah, well, Michelle, thank you so much. And absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. We are definitely so aligned, and I absolutely love the work that you're doing as well. And it's absolutely wonderful to meet other practitioners, healers, providers that are on the same path and are here to really help so many people that need it. So thank you so much. So really about how I got started. Well, I'm actually a born intuitive medium. So as a child, I was very in tune, almost as if I could hear people's thoughts. I just knew things that were much greater than what a 3-year-old child, because I remember about back when I was about 3, should know at that age. And I also would see energy, orbs. I just would know things about people, know a lot about their emotions, just was very intuitive. And so then as a child, I grew up, around the age of 7 is generally when we start to be conditioned. And that's really when the subconscious mind really starts to form, is around the age of 7. So that's when I kind of lost it. And I started to try to fit into society like most of us. And then when I was going through a divorce in my late 30s, I had a spiritual awakening. I was actually robbed at gunpoint. And during that experience, I had an out-of-body experience. And I met what I refer to as God or universal energy, source energy, whatever you prefer to call it. And I was wrapped in gold light. It was almost like time had stopped. And the energy that was in the room, I do remember that it was radiating from behind the gunman that had the gun to my back. So the universe was also protecting them. So it was not only protecting me, but everyone, because we are all connected. We're not separate. And so it was really interesting to me. And there's also that saying,
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The universe always has your back. So, I see things I see things symbolically, but also that was very literal. Like that saying, the universe always has your back. I had a gun to my back, but there was this energy that was protecting me and the gunman. So during that time, I was not thinking about what you normally would think you would think about when you're going to lose your life. I wasn't thinking about my family. I wasn't thinking about my dog that I had at the time. I was only thinking about what I was seeing. And I was seeing angels as well as this energy that I'm speaking of, this gold light. And I saw one of my spirit guides. His name is Bill. He was there and he had just transitioned out of his body back into spirit about 6 weeks before this had happened. And I saw my grandparents. And so I was told at this time that you need to wake up. You need to do what you're supposed to be doing, and you're going to go back and you're going to do this work. And so I remembered that, wow, I remember all these things, what I would experience as a child. It was like this beautiful kind of bittersweet sort of experience that happened because it woke me up. So after that, I really just, all the intuitive stuff started coming in. I started taking a really strong interest in numerology, consciousness, and it just has opened up. And then I started getting a lot of messages from the babies. So I was a acupuncturist at the time. And I still am an acupuncturist. And I was getting a lot of messages from babies, and whether they would be in the aura of the person that I was treating, or they would actually be in the womb space, and I would get messages from them. So I have regular dreams from what I call spirit baby guides that will come and share information with me about how to help people, as well as people that I am working with. And so it's been very apparent and made very apparent to me what my job is. And I do not only treat fertility. I work with people on a very helping people across the board with helping them really understand themselves. But fertility is a big part of my job. It's probably about 50%.
Amazing. And so spirit babies have always really intrigued me. And what is it that you feel orbs, or what exactly do you feel when you see those spirit babies attached to your patients?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can be sparkles. I see a lot of sparkles. The orbs of colors that I generally see will be blue, white, gold, sometimes purple. Sometimes I will see pink. There have been times I have seen green, but the colors are specific. I haven't quite figured out why I only see certain colors, but they're very beautiful. They're like if someone is sitting in my office, or if I'm doing a virtual session, because I work with people globally, that I can actually see these sparkles that will actually start to just come off of them or around them. And that could be a spirit baby. It could also be a passed on loved one that is guiding that particular person on their journey. But we're talking about spirit babies today. So definitely the just a spirit in general could have that sort of sparkly sort of energy that I'll see in the person's energy field, which could also be known as biofield. Which would be more of a scientific term if we're talking about auras. And then I see a lot in my third eye. So your third eye is right between your eyebrows. If people know about chakras, I know that you do, Michelle. And so I get these thought forms. Sometimes they'll actually be words that will come across. Other times they'll be visuals, like I will see the baby. I actually will see what they look like, as well as their gender. They will show me different artifacts or objects that relate to the person that I'm reading, so that that person will know that I'm actually telling them something that they can link up to, and I'm not just making it up. So that's one thing I've realized over the years with the spirit babies and just the spirit world in general is that things will come through that will resonate with you to confirm with you that you're not alone.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's amazing. And what do you find, or what are the messages that you get for people who are struggling to conceive, yet they have a spirit baby around them? Like, what is the holdup for the spirit baby coming through?
Well, that's a very common question, and there could be a bazillion different things, but I'll tell you some common areas that I see. There could be, it could be that maybe subconsciously, this is where the subconscious mind comes in, which is really powerful. You're into that, as well as also a certified hypnotherapist, that our subconscious mind will create energy blocks and will make it so that we're thinking things under the radar that could be patterns about, oh, maybe I won't be a good mom. Maybe I won't be a good dad. Maybe I won't be a good parent. And it could relate to some sort of traumatic event that happened. Maybe you had a mother that was emotionally unavailable. You couldn't speak your truth. Not necessarily saying that your parents were bad. It could be that maybe they just were dealing with their own things that were going on. And so you could be carrying around that trauma and not even realize that you're carrying it around. So people often ask me, well, why is it so easy for some people to get pregnant, but it's difficult for me? Why have I had so much loss? Or maybe I have never even had a pregnancy, or maybe I have secondary infertility. And the answer that I often get is that I remind people and letting them know that everybody's journey is different. And when we sign up to have these human experiences, we're coming in and we're creating different experiences based on what our soul wants to learn in this physical 3D reality. And so if we're comparing our lives to other people, and that, oh, well, this person over here got pregnant really easily, why is this person getting pregnant that doesn't even want the baby? Is this because everyone's journey is different, as well as your spirit baby's journey is different. And so it could be, a good example would be is that maybe you're someone that wanted to have a lot more wisdom before you became a parent. Maybe you're someone that didn't want to be like your mother with your child. Maybe there was a lot of healing that needed to happen before your child actually would show up physically, because you wanted to be in the best version of yourself to be able to give this child the life that maybe you didn't have.
Yeah. I mean, there's the thing that I find is that, and I've gotten these ideas and downloads through meditation, through even going to Joe Dispenza events, because you're so immersed that you get these downloads, and is that we are just simply not aware of the big picture. And we try to make conclusions based on parts and those parts of our life. And, so it's very hard to make a very big picture conclusion when we don't have the big picture in front of us. Yeah. And so part of that is really trusting that there's something else that does see the big picture that we're connected to, and being able to surrender that. And that's another thing too that I've noticed is the surrender part.
Yeah.
I think we're so conditioned to go after it that sometimes I like to kind of like think about, the Chinese handcuffs or the finger cuffs or whatever. Like, the faster you pull, the more you pull tightly and forcefully, the more you get stuck. And so creating that kind of flow in your life and will allow you to get the lesson faster, I feel like, and then you move faster. Yep. That's what I've noticed. Have you picked up on that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a client that that I've been seeing since August, and we've got some really good news yesterday. Her AMH went from a 0.44 or something like that to over 1 point won something.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
And
amazing.
it's amazing. And
That's great to hear for people to hear.
Yes, absolutely. And she's in her 40s. And I told her, what I tell my clients is, you did that. You did that. I mean, of course,
Yes.
supplements help, acupuncture,
Right.
but you did that because you have learned to let go of things that are no longer serving you. You're starting to really trust yourself. Your body is saying, yes, 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 because your mind is saying, hey, I know my worthiness. I know that I deserve to be a mom, because if I didn't deserve to be a mom, I wouldn't desire it. Okay. And
Right.
so she is really now believing that this is truly happening for her. It's a knowing now, rather than a just, I'm looking for hope. I'm looking for encouragement. Will this happen? She's actually knowing that it's happening, and her body is responding to it.
Yeah.
Because of her mind power. So to get back to what you were talking about, with surrendering, I often tell people with manifesting, whether it's a baby, because babies are manifestations, it's a partner, it's a business, it's a new house, whatever it is, it's better health. What we do, and this is challenging because we're not taught this, but as little kids, we know this. We put out, it into the universe that, okay, I'm going to manifest this. You have to almost take it and put it up on the shelf and leave it there. You have to be unattached.
You almost have to forget about it.
Yes, exactly. You have to be unattached to the how, the when, what it's going to look like. And you're living your life, and you're enjoying your magic and your light and your family and all the things that make you happy. I mean, when our perspective shifts, our whole world shifts. You can look at something one way, or you can look at it another way. If you're looking at things and that things are abundant, or you're looking at things of what I don't have, that's a very different feeling. And we know that the universe is responding to how we feel.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's the feelings. Yeah. The feelings really make a huge difference. And that's what they found actually in the research that Joe Dispenza does, is because the researchers come up and talk, and they say the two things that they saw, the combination is thought and emotions and emotional state. So that's one of the reasons why he focuses a lot on the heart, and also this joy and the love, because when you feel those emotions, you can feel those emotions in very challenging times, yet you still can be very elevated. And I can tell you this, I mean, I went through the loss of my father, and it was a very challenging time to see him go through the transition. I knew he was going to transition. I knew that I was witnessing to that. At the same time, I was able to get into a state of such love that I felt more alive than like ever before. It felt like such a pivotal and sacred time, even though it could be judged as like this bad, dark time. And yes, it had very difficult, painful aspects to it, but the way I'm describing it now is it's a more neutral way. So you could look at something and acknowledge the pain in a more neutral perspective, rather than looking at it and saying, this is good, this is bad. Because ultimately by doing that, or saying something's bad, you're limiting yourself. We were talking about that before. You're limiting yourself to that aspect of it. And that will impact your energy and how you're able to really show up in your life. And the energy impact can for sure impact the AMH. So all of these things that suck our energy throughout our life and mentally in the background are going to definitely impact the energy that can go into procreation. So it's this whole big picture.
It really is. And I love what you're saying. It's about giving meaning to things. Once we give meaning to things, then it takes on its own energy. So it's neutral is a very powerful way of explaining it. And I know that can be challenging as a human being, because we're encoded with emotions. It's part of the experience. But when you can learn, it's like the Buddha says, and I'm not Buddhist, but just, I love history, and there's a lot of philosophies that are great, is that when you can live in that middle place, rather than being too up here or too down here, you're just neutral. That's really when the manifestation happens. That's really when the happiness, that's where the joy is, because you're not attached to anything.
Yes, it is. It's that golden path. And, Eckhart Tolle refers to that as the present moment. And Chinese medicine can refer to that, or Taoism as flow. That is that golden path that is, it's neither one extreme or the other. It's here in the center. It's that neutrality. And many different ancient cultures have been pointing to that. And many different spiritual teachers refer to that, because that is the portal. And Eckhart Tolle says that present moment is the portal really to the endlessness. So it's when we're able to really let go, and, also not get hung up on the past, not hold on to all of that, and not get too identified with the future. Just really being in that center moment. If you think about that, if you truly, truly get into that state, you're very free. You're free. And when you're free energetically, you're able to really connect to a wealth of power and energy to create whatever you need to create.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I have to add too that, I don't know if you ask yourself this, but I find it quite interesting if we're just talking about Chinese medicine. How is it that ancient philosophers of Chinese medicine came up with everything that they knew about the internal parts of the body and the spiritual energy with no diagnostics, no MRI machine, no ultrasound, no ability to look at the blood? They were channeling. They were channeling
100%,
energy.
100%. They were connected to that wealth of intelligence that we all have. We all are connected to. And I love that you mentioned that, because you and I are both interested kind of like in the scientific research of the spirituality, and like really understanding that, because it's a great tool and it could be used as a great tool. However, they didn't have that back then. And so that just shows, and it's actually being proven just by itself, that just shows that there is an intelligence that we are connected to, that we can connect to without necessarily having to dissect it.
Yep. Absolutely. And I say this often too. If science was a silver bullet for everything, why are people not able to get pregnant with IVF?
Right. Oh my God, such a good point.
I mean, it works for a lot of people. I'm not anti-Western medicine or modern medicine at all.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I believe in integrative medicine.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think, what makes what we do so powerful too. We can see both sides of the coin.
Yes. 100%.
And really help people to understand their bodies, but also understand that, wow, we've got this energy part that can't always be proven. Right. And so, it's just, that's what people want. That is where we are going as an energy collective, as integrative. Mm-hmm. It's not, one-sided, this is an integrative process that's happening, because science is great. I mean, there's so many wonderful, just advantages to live in this time where we have science. Because, for example, if someone has, say they have a partner that has some sort of DNA issue with their sperm, and they're going to, if they get pregnant naturally, they've had several miscarriages, and they just, that's painful to go through. So IVF would be a great option, because then we can create an embryo that is healthy, and then we have a healthy baby. So they're not going through that emotional roller coaster. So it's not just that. I'm just giving one example. Okay. Mm-hmm. But when we're just saying that it's just one way or the other, it's making it very limited for people. And I don't think that that's fair. This is my opinion. And I know that you're on the same page too. But this is what we are going to see further that we go into just where we're headed as just humans. People want more of the energy options in health in general.
Yeah.
They're moving away from being, oh, I'm going to take this pill and that pill, and I'm going to, people don't want that anymore. I don't
Yeah.
want that. I mean, you and I haven't been wanting that for years because we wouldn't be where we are if we did. And
Yeah.
again, I'm not knocking, I'm not talking bad about science. I think that, like I said, it's wonderful. It does wonderful things, but we have to open our mind a little bit more to things,
For sure. There's definitely a place for everything. And I think that as you're talking about that, I'm thinking about the neutrality aspect of it, looking at it objectively and saying,
Mhm.
hey, this is one tool and then this is another tool. And sometimes this tool is a tool that can be very beneficial, but it shouldn't be the only tool because there are other tools like energetic that we don't necessarily
Mhm.
see that can be very beneficial. And in fact, sometimes can enhance maybe the medical tools.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, they have found studies, Harvard Medical School, for, it was not contemporary medicine, but it's the alternative side of the medical school. They did a study where they found that they had two different groups, and the one group that followed a mind body, which what was included with that was meditations, mindfulness, as well as visualizations,
Yeah.
hypnotherapy, medical intuition. I mean, all these energy modalities, they had a 55% success rate of healthy babies, where the
Yep.
other group that didn't follow that particular program, chose not to do it, or just didn't do it the way that it was designed for them, had about a 20% success rate. So we really are seeing that when we are integrating, like you just stated, these mind-body techniques, that they can really enhance these medical therapies that people are using with Western medicine, like IVF.
Oh, yeah. It is so powerful. And I'm glad that finally there's attention put on it because I think that because it's so abstract, a lot of these visualizations or visualizations being different than what you just said, like which is more mindfulness, but in general, like getting into the state of our being that is more abstract. It's not something that we
Mhm.
can easily dissect or it's not as tangible as others. And I think for that reason specifically, it can be very easily ignored.
Mhm.
So I love the fact that there is data showing the evidence of that working because it's powerful. And I think it'll get more people on board to do that. And not only will it help their fertility, but it's also going to help their life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's I have a lot of vivid dreams. One that I had earlier this year, and I'm not religious in any way, but I get messages and they are what they are. And the message is the kingdom is within you, and we all know that if people have read the Bible or they've seen that. And again, I'm not necessarily a pusher of the Bible by any means. I'm a spiritual person, so I don't push any sort of religion. So very open. But, it's interesting to me because when I was having this dream, it was a presence, it was a consciousness. And again, I think that this was source energy, God, which is all of us anyway. We're not separate from that, like you stated. And so there was all these lapis lazuli stones that were coming out of what I know to be my body. And I did not know, but in the Bible it states that lapis lazuli was made. That was what the throne of what God, I guess, in the Bible was actually made from.
Oh, wow.
So it was very powerful, and that shook me up. If the robbery and the out of body experience didn't, that one did. That we're all so powerful. And you don't necessarily have to be having dreams like I do. I'm here to share these dreams. I'm here to share this information, just like you, to help people to realize that you have the power to create and be anything that you want. You have the power to heal yourself. And by no means, disclaimer, am I recommending that people stop taking their medications or stop their treatment.
Yes. Yeah.
But you have the power, but it's really starting to believe that. And that can take some healing work, working with someone that can help you with that. But I always tell people when they work with me, we're not meant to work together forever.
Mm-hmm.
We're meant to get the work done that we're meant to do together. And then you're going to be better and you're going to find your own magic. And then you're going to be able to help other people by you just
Yes,
being
it
you.
does happen often.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what are some things, because we talk about the mind body, and obviously there are certain techniques, like we talked about mindfulness. What are some techniques that people can look into that can help them utilize this incredible force of their mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So techniques that I use would be hypnotherapy, which I know you use as well, Michelle, and neuro-linguistic programming, which is NLP, which is being able to tap into the subconscious mind. It also is the study of body language. So it's the study, like the FBI uses it to be able to solve cases and be able to tell if people are telling the truth or not. Now, that's a really powerful way to be able to work with somebody too, because sometimes you could even be lying to yourself and not even realize that you're doing it. So I'm able to see really, and it does not, we can be virtual. It does not necessarily have to be in person. Energy has no barriers with us being across the world or across the country like you and I are. And so we can use these tools to be able to tell what's going on in somebody's subconscious mind that they probably are not consciously aware of. So then what we do is I use different tools to be able to help them to learn how to reprogram those behaviors, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and fake. So if you're constantly unconsciously telling yourself, like I was stating before, that I don't know if I'm going to be a good parent. I don't know if this is going to work out for me. What if, I've had clients, for example, that have had maybe their mom had secondary infertility and they heard about that. I have one actually this happened to, and she did not even realize this. And then when she started working with me, we identified that her mom had secondary infertility when she was trying to have her. So she'd been constantly telling herself since she was about 12 years old that she was going to have infertility. I have another client I worked with years ago that did IVF, and she had some of the lowest AMH that I've ever seen on somebody that was young. I mean, she was under 30. And we identified and figured out that her aunt had infertility, and she had been telling herself over and over again since she was a little girl that she was going to have infertility. Well, she did one baby with IVF. All the other ones, like three or four more, came naturally. So once she got over that subconscious belief that she was going to have trouble with having a baby, then she just had babies naturally. So it was something that she needed to get over in her journey. So NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is really powerful. Visualizations are really powerful. Mindfulness, meditation. I do a lot of visualization with my clients, as well as helping them with their chakras, which are the energy centers located in the spine, to really identify. Also, I'm a medical intuitive, so really identify where there's imbalancing happening, and then figuring out what emotions are attached to that. What sort of traumas are attached to that? For example, a lot of women have a blocked throat chakra, which when we have a blocked throat chakra,
and lapis lazuli is good for that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. That will block up the womb space.
And it's interesting how the thyroid impacts our reproductive organs and health.
Yep, it's the biggest one. It's the biggest gland in that endocrine system. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, we could go into endocrinology and the spiritual. That's always fun.
Yeah, but also expression, so that expression opening up the heart opening up the uterus. I mean, there's so many aspects. And that's the thing too with chakras, is that, yes, they each have their own indication and behaviors and patterns, but they also have an interlinking workings with each other.
Yep. It's all connected, just like the Chinese philosophers of Eastern medicine. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. This is so interesting. I mean, I can talk to you for hours. I can keep talking about like everything, but I wanted to ask if people are interested. I know you have a new podcast.
Yes.
Which is awesome. And so talk about your new podcast, and also talk about how people can reach out to you if they want to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So new podcast is Fertile Frequencies.
I
I
love
created
that.
that. Thank you. I created that because I really wanted to bring more of an integration of the unseen energies, of the energies of spirit babies, energetic spiritual fertility, which by the way is not religious. It is spiritual. It's energy. Often that's a question that people will ask me about. That's kind of why I call it more energetic spiritual fertility. So people kind of understand this from an energy standpoint. And so really talking with people, giving you the encouragement on your fertility journey, knowing that this is manifesting for you, understanding more about your physical body, but knowing that your fertility is way more than just your physical body. So we do get into some of the dynamics of things like egg quality, as well as IVF, talking about nutrition, different supplements. I do talk about that, but I'm more about the energy. I feel like there's a lot of information out there about the physical side of fertility. So a lot of great content creators, like people, and of course you have a great podcast as well, that are already doing that. So there's not enough of the energy. So
I agree.
yeah, so that is a lot if you're into that, which if you listen to Michelle's podcast, I'm sure that you are into the energy side of fertility. And so just started that. I'm going to have some really great experts on there. I'd love to have you on there as well. That's coming up. So it's definitely getting bigger than I think I was expecting it to. I think it's just time. It's time for this message to be out.
It's aligned. It's
yeah,
time.
it's aligned. Exactly. I do have a fertility program coming out as well. A course that's coming out in this month. And then I do have a VIP fertility program where you can work one-on-one with me. And I do design a unique fertility program for you that has the physical aspects in it, but I do walk you through, help you with changing some of those subconscious patterns, helping you to really manifest the healthy pregnancy that you're looking for. And if you're interested in that, I do offer a 45-minute call where we can go through the program and I can meet you and we can answer any questions. I can answer any questions that you have and see how I can help. I'm only going to work with people that I know I can help. So I'm very honest about that as well. I think integrity is a huge part of this. So first step is seeing if we're a good fit. And then I also have some free resources as well. If you'd like to, I have an ebook on fertility, some 7 essential steps to download, an ebook download to help you with some of those essential steps getting started on your fertility journey. Or if you're someone that has been trying for a while, that would be helpful as well. And I do have a fertility affirmations and meditation available that you can download. That is a free download as well. So definitely, I'm now an Insight Timer. So you can download it on there. Yeah. So yeah.
Cool. That's great. And all of Lindsay's information will be in the episode notes in case anybody wants to find it. Lindsay, I absolutely love talking to you. I feel so aligned with your way and method of teaching and also your perspective on fertility and health. So it's always a pleasure talking to you. Happy New Year. Well, right now by the time this airs, it's going to be way past New Year, but it is January 1st today.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And thank you to all of your listeners, and so much love and encouragement. And just know that it's all happening for you.
So that concludes today's episode. You can find all of the links mentioned on the episode notes. If you're enjoying these episodes, please take a moment to share and leave a review. Reviews mean everything to podcasters, and I really enjoy hearing from my listeners. You can also find me on my website at www.thewholesomelotus.com or email me at info@thewholesomelotus.com. I love hearing from my listeners. If you're interested and want updates as well as a free ebook on my top 10 fertility boosting habits, you can visit my fertility page on www.thewholesomelotus.com. I thank you so much for listening in and hope that you have a beautiful day.